Hi, guys. One of the most interesting topics I heard from a lot of speakers is the 18 minutes that we get for the presentation. And there's a lot of mixed feelings about 18 minutes. Is it a lot? Is it not enough? And for me, when I was trying to figure out what to talk about for you guys today, I realized that for most people, not just the presentation staff today that are presenting their stories, but for all of you, 18 minutes is actually nothing. To compress your entire life into 18 minutes is practically impossible. So, in order for me to present something to you today, it took me a long time to find one thing that I could possibly compress into 18 minutes. Something that you can walk away from this with some interest, something to think about, something that I am proud of, and something that actually changed my life. And I think that's the most fascinating thing about life, is that our job is to fascinate our friends, our family, ourselves, most importantly. And what I like to talk about today is the power of relationships. The power of relationships is the reason why I am standing here today in front of you. Many of you guys probably have absolutely no idea who I am, which is great, because that is a perfect example of the power of relationships, and that is the perfect example of power of connecting with one another. You might be sitting next to someone that you don't know today, that you did not take a second to possibly just turn around, make eye contact, that could possibly change your lives forever. And we don't think about that because we are too closed-minded sometimes, and we focus like a racehorse. Why do they put the leather straps on the side of the racehorse eyes? In order to focus on going forward and not looking to the left and to the right, which is technically we are taught that those things are distractions in life. But those distractions in life is the true meaning of life, essentially, because without those distractions, when you're at a grocery store and your mission is to buy some plantains for Dominican Republic, or some grapes or whatever it is, and then you take a second and you notice someone standing next to you, and you take that chance. In my case, it was IKEA, actually, in Santo Domingo here. And, a year later, I'm still here, thanks to my beautiful Dominican girlfriend. And I was here on tour. I've been coming here for 10 years. I've been coming mainly to Punta Cana, to the festivals over there. And there was another DJ that did a lot of shows with me. He's actually in the audience today. He's one of the speakers, Omar. I don't know where he is, somewhere. And he was an opening DJ for me for many years. And what a lot of us do, unfortunately, especially in the music industry or in the entertainment business, is that we undermined the little guy, as they say. I never undermined anybody. And that is something that has taken me from a small country in Moldova across the world and now to the stage here in Santo Domingo doing TED. God knows how I got here, but I'm here. So to connect the dots, I was the guy that respected the little guy. And through that guy, I met another guy and another guy. And then I met Freddie, who's responsible for me standing here in front of all of you. So why is that important? The reason why that's important is because we wake up in the morning, some of us are happy, some of us are not, some of us wish we had more. And we always tend to blame a lot of different reasons why we're not successful, why we don't have more friends, why we don't have more money, why we don't travel enough. And we spend so much time wasting and thinking about these things when in essence, God created this world for us to explore this world. And it doesn't have to be flying to China to change your life. Sometimes all it takes is for you to say yes to a certain event or be kind to someone at your job who might be a cleaning lady. It might be it doesn't matter who it is. We can never underestimate the power of simply being good and focusing on not only your problems, but understanding the world as a whole. Because the world is a combination of units, all of us together. When you take out a bunch of us, you start having holes. So nobody is more or less important per se. Everybody is important. If you're walking today, you are important even if you're a shitty person. You're important to me because you're my bad neighbor and I got to deal with you. Right? Or you're important to me because you're a great neighbor and I got to thank you every day for not being like this guy over here. You know what I mean? So don't forget that you're important regardless if you're good or bad. Because you have a duty in this world. And your duty is to create. We're talking about, the space we create, right? So when you shit in your own backyard and your neighbor doesn't like it, you've just created a very unnecessary space, right? So when you wake up in the morning, think about that. Think about that for a second, that you have a responsibility to create relationships, not only to make your life better, but make the entire world better. Because only together true change can happen. I've been coming here for 10 years, and I have to tell you, Santo Domingo in particular, Dominican Republic as a whole has been making some drastic changes forward. Obviously, there's a lot of progress still to be made, but on the international market, this is no longer considered to be a third world country, and I know being here might not be so noticeable, but you guys are creating space. You guys are improving your world here on a very large scale together. So when we scale that down and take me per se, a performer, my job is to entertain. My job is to make people dance, to be more specific. If people don't dance, I don't get my paycheck. Whose fault is it when people don't dance, Is it a shitty song that I played? Is it the way I, presented myself? It doesn't matter, because the most important thing is the presentation, I think, is the most important thing, the most essential thing. So for me, my job is to create relationships with new people every single day. For the past 10 years, I've been creating relationships. I've been creating relationships with performers, other performers. I've been creating relationships with the fans. I've been creating relationships with staff members that are responsible for me sleeping comfortable at night before or after the show, the drivers, the promoters, like the amazing people that put this thing together for all of you guys. All of those things together is the reason why my ass gets to stand on stage and perform for thousands of people around the world. Because those people chose for me to be there. Not me. We don't choose. The only thing we can do is we could be better. We could be good. We can expand. We can expand our energy for those people to decide for you to be here. That's how the world works. The world doesn't work that, I hear a lot of people, unfortunately, talking about, oh, I'm so great, I'm the best, That's great. You might be the best. But without the energy that is necessary, the relationships, the power of relationships that I'm talking about, none of that matters. None of that matters. How many musicians or how many athletes that are phenomenal do you see in the news ruin their careers because of their egos? They're some of the most talented people in the world. God gave them the gift, and what do? They shit on that gift. And that's why when you see kids from nothing, coming out of nothing, coming from nothing, sometimes, and making it to the top, understanding the journey. I understand my journey. I've been understanding my journey for 10 years, which is the reason why people still call me. I have a lot of friends that are a lot more talented than I am, but they don't understand the journey because they don't know how to create that space around them that attracts others to them. That energy is so powerful and so amazing at the same time that a lot of us don't take advantage of it, unfortunately. We wake up in the morning and first thing we do is we think about the shitty job that we have, or the problems with this or the problems with that. Where in essence, what we have to realize is that I got out of this bed today and I have my feet, I have my brain, I have my food on the table. If I want to expand as a human being, I don't like to call it become more successful, become more rich, because becoming rich it's not essential, and it does nothing, actually. There's a lot of rich people that hate their life, so that doesn't matter. But every time you wake up in the morning and you're like, I can't get out of bed and I can create these phenomenal relationships. You can even fix existing relationships. And that's the power that God gave us. That, we always talk about it in all the societies. We always say that we always love the comeback kid. Never forget about that. The world loves the comeback kid. You could be the shittiest neighbor ever. You come around a few times with some brugal and sancocho, you know what I mean? He might think of you differently, And you have that power. You have that power to change, to create new space, that energy when you wake up in the morning. All of you, all of us do. And when you wake up tomorrow, think about that. It's a new start every day. It's a new start every day. I have so many phenomenal stories on how I've achieved certain things. There was a show, it was called Sensation White in Amsterdam. 60,000 people arena. It was like the impossible. It was the impossible. For you to perform at a show like that, for me, it was like impossible. So I woke up every day and I watched those videos. I watched those videos day in and day out. And then 6 years later, I did the biggest Sensation White Amsterdam. To this day, 65,000 people, and I was standing there, and how did I get there? Did I imagine, people are like, oh yeah, let me imagine. I'm going to fly to the moon, and oh look, I'm on the moon, No. Doesn't work like that. You have to imagine. That's step one. If you imagine, that's step one. What is step two? Step two is go buy some Brugal for your neighbor, you know, and say thank you for your mom and dad for, you know, even bringing your shady ass to life sometimes, you know what I mean, taking care of your dirty socks and whatnot, you know what I mean? And then you start building. You start building every day. Co-workers, friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, kids, you know? I see so many families having problems because of their relationships, you know, relationship problems. Relationships are very, very, very destructive things if they are not in a good state. How can you possibly focus on success if you have relationship problems in your own backyard, in your own families? Those need to be the baby steps before you get to say, Mom, I'm off to the moon, you know what I mean? Once you get through those, the family, then you get out. Now you're outside. What's happening outside? Okay, your co-workers, whoever you're working with, business partners, friends. Friends, number two, you know? Build those relationships. You know how many times I've met people for the first time and I'm like, aren't you having problems with your career? And they're, yeah, you know, I'm like a starving musician. I'm like, did you know that your best friend runs this like theater? One of the biggest theaters in town? Oh, yeah, I know, yeah. I'm like, okay, what's the problem here? Oh, yeah, you know, he's busy. Well, yeah, he's probably busy for you because you're a shitty friend, right? You know, we got the answers. We don't like to, we're like us humans, we know the answers. All of us know the answers. It's like I see people going to therapy with their, you know, with their boyfriends and girlfriends, and it's like, oh, it's been so hard, we don't know what the issue is. Really? We don't know what the issue is? Come on, man. Go back to day one when you met and take those baby steps all the way forward and kind of see where you screwed up along the way. And you're like, oh, wait, okay, more flowers, okay. All right, so this period of 6 months has been flowerless in this house, you know what I mean? So we start with the flowers. People are like, no, it's this. No, start with the flowers. Yo, start with the flowers. Everybody wants to go to the moon. Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to be happy, but nobody wants to buy flowers. You know? Nobody wants to buy flowers. Nobody wants to help an elderly woman cross the street. But we want to be the talkers, you know, the most powerful men in the world. Build those relationships. I got 3 seconds left. I was fighting it at first. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much. Build those relationships.